My first night after marriage. My name is Sophia. I was only 17 when I got married. Yes. Maybe that sounds too young to some people, but sometimes life doesn't wait for us to grow slowly. In my family, marriages were arranged early, and daughters were taught to trust their parents' decisions. I didn't marry for love, at least not in the beginning. My husband's name was Ethan. He was 26 years old. Before the wedding, I had only seen him twice. I knew almost nothing about him except what my parents told me. He's respectful. He's educated. He comes from a good family. Everyone said I was lucky, but standing there in my bridal dress, surrounded by lights, music, and smiling faces, I didn't feel lucky. One felt terrified. My hands trembled when I signed the marriage papers. My chest felt tight. The entire ceremony. Women kept fixing my veil while relatives congratulated me one after another. You look beautiful. You'll be very happy. He seems like a wonderful man. I smiled politely, but inside, my thoughts were loud and restless. What if he was cruel? What if he expected too much from me? What if marriage changed my whole life overnight? By the end of the wedding, my body was exhausted. My heavy dress dragged across the floor. My jewelry hurt my neck, and my makeup felt like a mask I could no longer carry. Then came the moment I feared most. The first night. I sat alone on the edge of the large bed in our new room. Rose petals covered the blanket. The soft yellow lights made the room feel warm, but my heart was cold with fear. I kept staring at my hands. Then the door slowly opened. Ethan walked inside quietly. He had changed out of his formal wedding clothes. He wore a simple white shirt with black pants. His expression looked calm, almost nervous too. For a second, our eyes met. I quickly looked down. "Hey," he said gently. "You? Okay?" I nodded. Even though I wasn't, the silence between us felt huge. He didn't come closer immediately. Instead, he walked to the chair near the window and sat down carefully, leaving space between us. "You don't need to be afraid of me," he said softly. His voice surprised me. It wasn't demanding or cold. It sounded warm, patient. "I know today was overwhelming," he continued, "and I know we barely know each other." I stayed quiet, twisting my fingers together nervously. Then he smiled a little and said something I never expected. "You don't owe me anything tonight." I slowly looked up at him. "If you want to sleep, then sleep," he said kindly. "If you want silence, that's okay too. I just want you to feel comfortable." Something inside me, soft. For the first time that day, I could breathe properly. A few minutes later, he stood up. "I'll sleep on the sofa tonight," he said. "You can take the bed." My eyes widened slightly. "You don't have to do that," I whispered nervously. "I know," he replied with a gentle smile. "I want to." Before leaving, he paused near the door. "Good night, Sophia." And then he quietly walked out. I stared at the closed door for a long time. My heartbeat was still fast, but now it wasn't only fear. It was confusion, curiosity, relief. The next morning, sunlight slipped through the curtains and touched my face. I slowly sat up and noticed a tray resting on the small table beside the bed. Toast, tea, fresh fruit, and beside it was a folded note. "Good morning, Sophia. Take your time with everything. There's no pressure here. Ethan." Without realizing it, I smiled. A real smile. The first one since the wedding. That entire day, I kept thinking about him. He never tried to touch me, never forced conversation, never acted like I belonged to him. Instead, he treated me like someone fragile. He didn't want to hurt. That night, when he entered the room again, I finally gathered enough courage to speak first. "Can we talk for a little while?" His face brightened slightly. Of course. This time he sat closer, though still leaving respectful space between us. At first, the conversation felt awkward. We talked about simple things. Favorite foods, childhood memories, books, music. He loved reading novels late at night. I loved flowers and rainy evenings. He liked walking quietly through parks. I liked listening to soft piano music before sleeping. Little by little, the tension between us faded. Then I finally asked the question, sitting in my heart. "Why are you being so patient with me?" He looked at me for a moment before answering, "Because you're human, Sophia, not an object someone receives after marriage." His words hit me deeply. "No relationship becomes real in one night," he continued quietly. "Trust takes time." I had never heard a man speak that way before. Not my uncles, not my cousins, not anyone. For the first time, marriage didn't feel like a prison. It felt safe. After a while, he asked softly, "Can I sit beside you?" I hesitated for a second, then nodded. When his shoulder gently touched mine, warmth spread through my body instantly. My cheeks became hot. But, strangely, I didn't want him to move away. "You're shaking?" he whispered with a small smile. "I'm nervous." "That's okay." We sat there quietly for several minutes. Peaceful silence. Not uncomfortable anymore. Before leaving that night, he looked at me carefully. "I'll wait until you're ready for anything," he said. And somehow, those words stayed inside my heart long after he left the room. Days passed slowly, beautifully. We started eating meals together. Sometimes we laughed over silly things. Sometimes we stayed quiet, just enjoying each other's company. One evening, rain started falling outside. While the electricity went out, the house became dark except for candlelight. I remember sitting near the window wearing a soft lavender dress while listening to the rain. Ethan looked at me and smiled softly. "You're beautiful." My face immediately turned red. Nobody had ever said those words to me so sincerely before. "Thank you," I whispered shyly. That night, for the first time, I reached for his hand myself. He looked surprised for a second but gently held mine back. "I trust you," I told him quietly. His eyes softened instantly. "That means more to me than you know." Then he kissed my forehead. Just my forehead. And somehow that simple kiss made my heart race harder than anything else. As the days continued, we naturally grew closer. There was no pressure, no force. No fear. Only growing affection. Sometimes he brushed my hair behind my ear gently while talking to me. Sometimes I fell asleep beside him, while listening to his heartbeat. Every little moment made me feel safer, more loved. 1 week after our wedding, everything changed naturally. That night the room was quiet except for the sound of wind outside the window. Moonlight covered the bed. In silver light, we were lying beside each other, closer than ever before. Ethan touched my hand carefully. "Sophia," he whispered, "are you truly comfortable with this?" I looked into his eyes. There was no impatience there, only love, only concern. And for the first time, I answered without fear. "Yes." He kissed me, slowly, softly, like I was something precious. My heart pounded wildly in my chest. As our foreheads touched, I was nervous, shy, excited, everything at once. Every touch felt gentle. Every movement felt careful. He kept checking my expression, making sure I was okay, and that made all the difference. That night wasn't just physical closeness, it was emotional trust. Two souls slowly opening to each other. I won't say it was perfect. There was nervousness, a little pain, a lot of blushing and hesitation, but there was also tenderness, care, love, growing in real time. Afterward, he wrapped his arms around me protectively while I rested against his chest. "I love you," he whispered into my hair. Tears filled my eyes unexpectedly, not because I was sad, but because, for the first time in my life, I truly felt cherished. I looked up at him and smiled softly. "I think I'm starting to love you too." Today, it has been 4 months since our wedding. I'm still young, still learning. But now when I think about marriage, I no longer think about fear. I think about patience, respect, gentleness. Ethan taught me that real love doesn't rush. It doesn't demand. It doesn't pressure. Real love listens. Real love waits. And real love makes you feel safe enough to open your heart slowly, step by step. So to every girl who feels nervous before marriage, your feelings are valid. Being scared doesn't make you weak, and the right man will never force you into comfort before you are ready. The right man will protect your heart first, because true love is not built in a single night. It grows quietly, with trust, kindness, and patience. And that is what made my first night truly unforgettable.